Welcome to the Narrate podcast, where we aim to tell God's story with our lives. We'll be continuing to post the Sunday message each week, but we want to dive a little deeper and offer some content to supplement your life with God, and that's where our Beyond Sunday series comes in. Join Adam and Narrate staff as they provide thoughtful discussions, ideas, and interviews that go beyond the message you'll hear on Sunday.
Okay, so I am here with Zack Eckerdt. Zack serves on our Narrate Kids team. I was just looking to see how long you've been serving on kids. You started June 24 on kids team, so you just surpassed your year.
1 year anniversary
on kids team, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so Zack serves on our kids team with our elementary kiddos. He does a great job. I will say, we have a really strong team when it comes to males. Yeah. With that room of kids, which I think is really rare for kids ministry. I feel like people are always looking for more males to bring into kidsmen, and we're really lucky to have a really strong group of men that help lead our kids crew. So we're gonna just talk through Zack's story, and just kind of highlight him as a owner at Narrate. So, question numero uno. I just want to hear your backstory. This is good for me too, because I don't get to really have these deeper conversations with all you leaders. So this is really cool. I want to hear your story. So when did your faith story begin? Was there some moment or season of life where Jesus was really made personal to you?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for letting me come hang out and talk. And just get to be in conversation with you. So my faith journey, I think I remember as a kid, my parents really trying to explore what faith meant, and they got to experience sort of a wide range of different faiths and backgrounds, and almost joined a cult where we got blackmailed. So it was a whole wild experience of different things, right?
Sounds like it.
But ultimately, I think probably when I was 10 or 12, we had landed sort of at a church that started to feel like part of our community, non-denominational Christian church. And that's when I remember it starting to feel like more than just showing up for a church service, more than just sort of checking off the boxes a little bit. I started to get this concept for the idea of a personal savior, right? Yeah. And so concepts of, at that point it was concepts of sin and salvation, I think were really a lot of what I was sort of focused on as a kiddo, which sort of makes sense, some of the concreteness of all of that. And then in middle school and high school, started to get introduced to the idea of it being part of a larger community. But I think it was college really where it got to go beyond just the act of showing up at church and the act of doing all of these things, and even being part of a youth group, which was a ton of fun. But I don't know that I learned a ton about the practical application of faith. But in college, I was blessed to meet some people who ended up being my mentors, Seth and Mary Carter, who were a part of the college ministry that I was at. And they just introduced faith in such a tactile way, where we really got to be invited into their family, and the day-to-day doing life was sort of a conversation point that was pretty common for that ministry and those people. And so we got to watch them have their first kids, and Seth was just such a role model in both wrestling with the weird and difficult parts of Christianity, and wrestling with the weird and difficult parts of being a husband and raising a family, and the joy and the celebration of getting to be in community. And so being able to be a part of a lot of fun adventures in that, and growth and learning, and they got to be a part of our experience. Durston was also mentored by Seth's wife, Mary, cool. And so they really just got to come in with us and be in this relationship with us and show us faith in a really practical, tactile way, whether it's just the moments of when someone is hosting you at their home and getting to wash the dishes for them and do just life in a really practical way.
Yeah.
So,
wow, I love that. That's really cool. So you are now employed at Carroll College, and so just tying like pieces together.
Yeah.
That's really cool that like your faith became really tangible to you in college, and now you're serving college students. Do you feel like your college experience is kind of what inspired you to go that direction vocationally?
Yeah, great question. I would say definitely. I think that was actually, oddly enough, for folks who don't know us, we still live on campus at Carroll College, and my joke that my kids have only ever lived in the dorms, and so that's what we brought our Thatcher, our oldest, when we came home from the hospital, was moving into a dorm with an apartment, so we had our own place, and so that desire to be like right next to the people that we wanted to serve, and kind of trying to replicate some of the things that Seth and Mary had done with us, trying to invite people into our home and getting to share that. Again, I'm a big fan of, like, I don't think Jesus can show up in policy, but I don't think that's how you change people's hearts towards Jesus.
Yeah. I
think it's that being in relationship and just getting to ask people a lot of questions until they get to ask you sort of that question about why do you do life a little bit differently? So so that's been a strong pull for us.
I love that. So you mentioned your mentors from college. Have there been any like particular experiences, whether like good or hard, that deepened your faith or challenged how you see God? Like if there's any like particular moments that you'd be comfortable sharing.
Yeah, sure. Just reflecting on that for a second. I think it was sort of, I guess when I think about that, it's it makes me think about the concept of discipline, which again is going to have both positive and negative connotations for folks, but in this sense, really in a positive light, sort of in the same way that if you're showing up to build your health and fitness at the gym, right? And so for us, it was like the little day-to-day moments, that sort of discipline of choosing to be in community with other people. And I think that was the first big commitment, was to say, this doesn't always make sense to me. I am going to be tired some days. I'm not going to want to show up for this, but just making the choice, whatever the commitment is, to show up for those commitments and be in community, and just getting to see Christ show up in those moments of service, and just sort of being in it for the long game is part of it. And then we've certainly had moments, difficult moments in parts of our life. I remember especially when we left our hometown for the first time, and that was a really difficult year. Just in we totally left all of our support system. We were moving to a totally new environment. We had left, even my first job was still within sort of this hometown, and so we had lots of support there. And it was this first big independent move with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and just having to, I don't want to speak too much Christianese, but this idea of like leaning into Christ and being like, there are just some moments where we just say, we're going to have to sit here and pray and just sort of do the disciplines of like trying to be in daily scripture and looking for something to speak to us, and being patient and waiting for that, while also doing the work of showing up in community. Like, again, that commitment of, we spent that first year just sort of looking for our community and our connection point. And so that's where, again, Christ just honored that. And I think that's where Christ continues to deepen that as we like reflect on our experience so far. We can see where in the moment it was really hard, and then God answered the prayer. Maybe not in a way that we had imagined, but he continues to be like faithful and honoring and addressing our anxiety and fears. And so our relationship has really been built on sort of that, just trying to build on that trust of trusting him to address what's going to come next. Yeah.
I love that emphasis on discipline. and the positive spin on it. I will say, like, as an outsider looking in, I feel like I've gotten to know you fairly well through serving with you and Durston through serving on VBS and our conversations that we've had in coffee and stuff. But I will say, you guys have 4 kids. I don't know if anybody has this. They have 4 kids now. And they're all like 2 years apart, right? Mm-hmm. They're such well-rounded kids.
Glad they show up that way.
And I can't help but think, like, when you're talking about, you know, disciplines and being consistent, that it's probably those disciplines and that consistency that make your kids as well-rounded as they are. Like, they're super personable. Yeah. They're fun. They're respectful. Like, they're just such good kids.
Thanks, Lexsey.
And like 4 out of 4, that's like really good luck. I mean, our kiddo is buck wild. He's a good kid, but he's buck wild. And now going into number 2.
Oh, there's no doubt our kids are buck wild
sure
too, right? They're showing up in different environments in different ways. So for anyone who's
But that's always good to hear, though, too. Yeah. Like, when they're always crazy for parents, but when they go out into the world, it's good to hear that they're well-rounded. I just had your oldest 2 served at VBS. Mm-hmm. Your youngest 2 attended VBS.
Did, yeah.
And it was just really fun to watch Evie and Thatcher, like, kind of embrace their leadership roles. Yeah. And they're just really good kids. Always like, how can we help? How can we help? What can we do?
Yeah.
And Parker and Archer's, like, imaginations are just, like, off the charts. Awesome. Yeah. They're just such good kids.
Well, and we so appreciate, again, just the chance for them to jump in and serve.
Yeah.
Again, that's just another, like, for us, just so valuable to get to, they're starting to get to dip their toes into, like, ownership of the church. Like, church is not meant to be a consumer product. It's, again, community of people. So really, really appreciate that they get to do that.
Totally. It's been really fun to watch them grow. So speaking of that, what led you and Durston and the family to walk through the doors at Narrate for the first time? Do you remember what that season of life looked like and what thoughts you were having church shopping?
Yep.
That fun experience.
I would say Helena is our second opportunity to move to a new community, and thankfully, again, we've been blessed to learn the value of moving into a community and then starting to look for those connections pretty quickly. And again, the church structure normally makes that sort of easy to step in and at least see what the community looks like, and then just to be there for a little bit. So we'd been doing that for about a year here in Helena, just visiting some different churches and trying to take the time to get to know those communities, and just looking for a community that was I think that was going to connect well with our family, and then allow us to aim to serve, I think, and connect in the community, just knowing that, again, different churches, I think we found, have sort of different missional focuses, which is great. Definitely. Because we get to serve all aspects of our community from different church homes. So I think we watched Narrate on YouTube at one point.
Good old YouTube
right,
days.
Exactly, when it was still, because it was 2020, when going into 2022, I think, when we found Narrate. And so just fell in love with the idea of getting out and serving. And so then came to check it out. I think Easter Sunday was maybe one of our first times, I think, at Narrate. So
what a busy Sunday to brave for the first time.
I think so, but I think, because we'd taken a little bit of time off and just, again, felt this pull to, like, connect back with community, and and re-energize through that. And so that's how we connected, and pretty immediately just felt a sense of welcome. I think you and I bugged you during a kid service. I think we talked for like a half an hour at the beginning of the service, just trying to get a feel for the community, and you jumped in and just were willing to dialogue with me for a while,
Totally.
which I really, really appreciated. And
I was just thinking the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
I want to mention, like, man, if you are someone who's attending Narrate or thinking of attending Narrate and you want to get connected in community, you and Durston, like, you guys put in the work, though.
Oh.
Like, you are not shy to have conversations. And really, when you're looking to get connected and find community somewhere, that's what you have to do. You have to be willing to just, like, be uncomfortable for a second and introduce yourself and have conversations with people like, oh, that person looks interesting, I'll go talk to them. Or, oh, I saw Hannah on stage, I'm going to go talk to her, spark a conversation with her and learn more. And that's really how you do it. And you and Durston did well. Durston was very shy at first. She's not so shy anymore.
No.
It doesn't seem. Now she seems more comfortable.
Well, that is it's funny, that brings up memories of, like I said, I think you and I talked for like a half an hour. I think a few weeks in, I just went up and tagged, like, Adam's offer to connect after services is genuine. I think I tagged him, asked if we could grab some coffee together, and he booked something with me within that week, and we went and grabbed a coffee. And I think that was also, like, there was 40 Days of Easter. It was like right after that, and so I think there was a board game night that we got to show up and hang it out and connect with some other people. So again, just showing up again. But we've also been at churches before where the offer is doesn't feel as genuine as it did here at Narrate, right? And so we showed up, and it was like, yes, people welcome you. Well, it doesn't feel as much like you're trying to come into somebody else's social circle. It feels open.
Totally.
So
yeah, that's definitely a huge part of our, like, vision casting with our staff is to be available to our community in general.
Yeah.
Not just even Narrate, but just community members. Like, the amount of people that we meet with that don't even attend Narrate is a pretty large number, I would think, for a church in a smaller town.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. As someone who has now spent some time, you got some time under your belt serving with Narrate Kids.
Yeah.
And this might be, you might have to think for a second, because I know there's going to be a lot. Is there a memory or a moment from this past year serving with kiddos that has really stuck with you and or surprised you?
Yeah. I think sometimes I have a hard time drilling down to the specific moment, but some of the feelings and sensations from all of it. I think over this last year, I'll say two things. One, I think working with kids gives you the opportunity to sort of, like, they ask really good questions. And so that forces you to, like, as an adult speaking to another adult, you can want to, like, extrapolate and externally process and sort of figure things out. But working with kids, it gives you an opportunity to figure out, like, what is at the core of this story? Like, what are we talking about here? What is the truth about God we're trying to learn? And so I think getting to be a part of this ministry is really continued to help me grow and, like, or stay connected to, maybe more so, like, what is the core truth here? And so I think for those who don't know or haven't gotten to see one of our kids services here, is there's sort of a truth about God and his relationship in relation to us, and what does it help us to know about him. And so it draws out this core truth. And so there's just been so many opportunities to point back to Jesus and the larger like narrative. And I think it's helped me as an individual to stay centered too. I think the other thing that's been memorable for me too is I think the culture that kids are coming up in is sort of much more anxiety and pressure driven than I recall when I was a kid coming up. And so just it's been a really encouraging truth to remember that when I was a kid, I think I mentioned it earlier, this idea of like sin and salvation was really key and core to the story. And that truth is still there, but knowing that Jesus' truth expands across like all generations and all experiences. And even in some of the curriculum, it's popped up that like our kids are dealing with anxiety. So how does Jesus answer that and relieve some of that? And like opportunities we get to like draw kids into prayer and then point to the larger truth.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I really enjoy how our kids' curriculum really points to modern day experiences that kids are having, whether it be at school, in families, with their friendships, online interactions, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love that it pulls those experiences in and tries to teach kids actual, like, tangible ways to apply what they're learning about their faith at Narrate Kids. You're not the first leader to say something similar. It's really fun to talk to all the leaders now after we've switched curriculum. This has been, I think we're on year 2 of this curriculum now. And so it's really fun to think like past curriculums to now and the ties between. It's really cool. I think the kids are a lot more engaged now also, and more, not that they weren't willing to ask questions before, but I think their questions are more, I think they're able to go deeper with their questions now than they were with our previous curriculum. So it's really fun that it's engaging them in ways that they can have fun, but they're also learning something that's applicable to their life.
Yep. And they love watching adults do goofy, silly things and then mess up. So they're...
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
So they're all about it. It's awesome.
It's like the story of our life. Anytime there's an experiment, I'm like, hold, pause. This is what it's supposed to do. It did not do that.
But here's the example we were going to learn from this game. So that works out. They roll with us.
This is totally not Sunday related, but it's Thatcher related.
Oh, no.
Your oldest, did he tell you about VBS?
Oh, he did. Yes, with the water bag and the pencil. Yep.
Talking about experiments failing in front of 40 kids at VBS. I was like, hey, Thatcher, how do you feel about like the potential of having a bag of water dumped on your head? 2 gallons of water.
That's good.
Dumped on your head. And I was like, the goal is for that not to happen. And he really did. He sat down in that chair and I was like, Thatcher, do you trust me? And he was like, yep, I trust you. He was like so in on it. He was like, I trust that you're going to stab these pencils through this bag of water and I'm not going to get wet. And he should not have trusted me. So
it worked on round 2, right?
It did work on round 2, but round 1 was a little rough. Punched the pencil through a little too far. It went straight through the bag, and we had a fountain.
I mean, to be fair, it was another kiddo punching pencils at first. So
that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Or holding the bag.
Oh, holding the bag. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So that was an adventure. So we literally had to tell all 40 kids at VBS, wait, pause, scratch that, act like you didn't see that, back it up, we're going to try this again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Those moments are fun. Awesome. So if you had a chance to speak directly to the families or the kids in our community, what is something, or parents in general, what is something that you would hope they'd carry with them?
I think I hope families are asking about what their kids are learning and experiencing on Sunday mornings. I think again, we've got this curriculum, which if that's a word you're not familiar with, that's this sort of like structured lessons that go together back to back as we're working through Scripture, both the New Testament and the Old Testament, based on the time of year. The kids have a sort of a theme that goes with each curriculum, which is normally something silly and goofy. There's like a video of a couple of high school kids or kids their own age who are doing different things that reinforce the ideas. But from a learning and an educational perspective, I think families asking questions helps to really reinforce the stories and helps them to engage and not feel like this is just like a 45-minute to 1 hour activity they do. There's like some core truths that they can take away from this. And it gives you a chance to dialogue with your kids about what you believe and how you want to apply faith and where you are at on your own faith journey. So,
Definitely.
yeah, so there's, so I would encourage asking questions there. The other thing I would encourage too is one of the reasons that I got involved with kids ministry at first, because to be honest, I would say I wasn't drawn to volunteering with kids church when I first started. But one of the reasons I jumped in was it was an opportunity to help be I think a spiritual foundation for my own kids, and to see some different ways to do that, and just to do church with them in a way that made sense to them as kids. And so my encouragement would be, like, if you have questions or interest about like volunteering, Lexsey makes it really easy to have a conversation, right? And to like talk about, there's a little bit of like online training you have to do that's, hour or two of work. But outside of that, Lexsey works with you on setting up a schedule. You can do it all online. You can set the dates you're available or not available. And I think taking that opportunity to make a commitment and come be a part of this, Lexsey also pairs us up as leaders, so we don't have to do it on our own. Typically with someone who's got a little more experience, so you get a chance to come in and watch it and just see how it all works. I think it's just such a cool opportunity to come get to hang out with your kids on a Sunday morning, and be a part of that experience. And so that would be my other encouragement.
Definitely. We try to make it a really fun and engaging space, not only for the kiddos, but for the leaders that are there too. Like, the goal isn't just that, like, kids walk in the door and have fun. Like, if your leaders aren't engaged in having fun, then the experience is a flop in general for everybody. And so I appreciate that, because I definitely try to make it easy on you guys.
And Lexsey didn't bribe me for these comments. I haven't been paid for this. I'm just
paid promotion,
right? Because I like to think, I hope this is true for all the leaders. They would say this about me. I've really enjoyed working with all of the other leaders. It's been a community building opportunity for me too, to get to know some other people, get to meet some of the other parents as their kiddos are coming through. So it can be a good community building opportunity, as much for your kids as for you.
Yeah, for sure. What's nice about Narrate Kids that we don't necessarily have a lot of up at Grand Street is we do have like a little bit larger / more open lobby space. So it's really nice that when parents come in, like, it's not kind of a quiet, like, oh, music is going. Hold on a minute. It's nice because there's like kids running around being crazy, and like grown-ups having conversations in the front of the room isn't gonna affect anything that's happening with the kids playing and waiting for their gathering to start. So it's a nice place to build community for families. So I guess we would just encourage you that if you're a parent who's maybe wanting to step into building community and relationship, you can apply the Eckerdt strategy and pull someone
Lexsey.
aside and have a conversation. We're not scary, especially as like us kids leaders. Like, pull any one of us aside. Honestly, we're all people. I know. So you're not gonna weird us out at all by pulling us and having conversation. And we're all looking for that same community and connection. So
definitely.
Well, thank you, Zach, for coming and recording this podcast with us today. It's been awesome having you on Kids Team and welcoming your family to Narrate and watching your kiddos get more involved.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, it's been super fun.
Cool. Well, thanks, Lexsey. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Thanks.
If you'd like to learn more about Narrate Church, find us online at narratechurch.org.
You can also look us up on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks for listening.